So, is the SMMA space or the agency space in general oversaturated? I'm gonna answer this question once and for all in this video because I'm really tired of making these videos. But the short answer is yes. You know, I've been saying this for about a year now, and over the last year or so, in my opinion, it's only gotten worse. And here's why, right? People are FOMOing into the agency space like no other, and after seeing kind of other people succeed in this field, they just get blindsided by survivorship bias, right? And I'm kind of guilty as I'm a contributor to this FOMO myself with videos like, oh, you know, 0 to 150K in my first year of business. But the truth of the matter is, and you're really gonna hate hearing this, and that's, I'm just better than most people. You have to understand, like, we're just cut from a different cloth. IQ-wise, apparently I'm top 10% of the world. Anyways, obviously that was just a complete joke. But, you know, was I serious about the first part of the video? Yes. The space is saturated because of survivorship bias. I kind of contribute to it, but obviously it's gonna be saturated. Have you seen the amount of course sellers now? Like, it's insane. And is the barrier to entry higher? Absolutely. It's quite frankly a lot higher than it was when I first started, which is like January 2020. And obviously it's like astronomically higher than, let's say, when people started back in like 2015 to 2018. But is the risk to reward ratio still worth it? In my opinion, why the hell not, right? If you're young and you don't really have much to lose, just take a swing at it. Worst case, you lose everything and what, you lose like the 2,000 in your bank account? That's nothing, right? And that's basically the bottom line. If you're risk tolerant, just go for it. Because I know you. I do know you, because I was like this when I was 18 as well. You want the shortest route to six figures, right? Which is completely arbitrary, by the way. And you want the path of least resistance to an insane reward. And this is why you get suckered in by things like Amazon FBA, dropshipping, and agency, and all this other crap like real estate and stuff like that as well. Because you just don't really understand some basic concepts. And this is what I really want to drill home. I'm sorry if I'm going on a tangent, but please watch this video, because this is mostly why not only do you not have any clients, but also you're kind of just broke right now. Because the thing is, when you're a first-time entrepreneur, you have to understand this. It's very, very difficult to chase blue ocean markets, because quite frankly, you just can't tell the difference between a blue ocean market versus like a red ocean market, even if it was presented to you on a silver platter. Because the funny thing is, even if you can tell the difference, you'll probably still go with the red ocean anyways. And the reason this is because you've seen others succeed in the red ocean market, and you're chasing their lifestyle, and you're chasing the kind of like the respect and the admiration other people have for them, rather than just building something dope that you genuinely really feel like purposeful and fulfilled by. That's not to say, by the way, like I'm not stuck in this cycle myself. I'm still trying to break the cycle to this very day. And the reason that is just because I'm still way too in it for the money, right? I'm gonna just, you know, put that out there and be completely transparent. And this mindset for me personally, stems from the fact that when I grew up in relative poverty. And it was just a very scarce environment, right? Like money was kind of hard to come by, and it was just, I just knew that when I grew up, I wanted to be rich. I didn't really care about anything else. And this is like the trap of just wanting money is something I'm really trying to break out of. And over the past few months, I've definitely seen progress in it, right? But, you know, back to the topic of, is the space saturated or not? Absolutely is. So you might be wondering, is it too saturated? Well, the answer is no, because at the end of the day, what is an agency? You're just a service provider solving a problem for people. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like Facebook ads, email marketing, or like social media management. You can be an agency for anything. You could be like a cleaning agency, for God's sake, right? But how can you actually stand out? Well, the whole way to stand out in the service providing game is literally just have a better service than your competitors. That, more importantly, that you actually believe in. Because, for example, one thing that's very hard to fake on sales calls is conviction. Like when you say, oh, I can achieve this for you, it's very hard to say with 100% conviction to the prospect if you're not convinced yourself. And in this video, I just wanted to bring your attention to one concept. And this is probably the reason why you kind of feel stuck at this stage of like, from like just being completely broke to around the 10K mark. And it's not until you actually realize this and you really like understand the concept, not just know it, that you'll probably, break through this eventually. And that's the fact that you probably haven't broken something called your plateau of latent potential yet. And understanding this will probably ease your worries about stepping into a highly competitive business model like social media marketing agencies a lot. Like, it will help you ease your anxiety and ease your questions. So I'm gonna jump into a screen share because I want to actually draw this model out for you and explain exactly like how to actually think about this, because this kind of changed the game for me. So the model is actually very, very simple, right? It's literally a model of basically just progress over time. So it looks something like this. Your progress right here. I'm trying to sync it with my Apple Pencil so it looks a bit better. And then your time on here. And this concept is so important, and you'll need to understand this because this is essentially what your growth will look like over time, right? What most people perceive growth to be is just this like linear curve, and that constantly kind of goes up. And then some people get a bit fancy and then they go like, it looks something like that, right? Whereas you got to actually model it as a parabolic curve going something along the lines of like this. Do it something like that, right? And this is actually what progress looks like, because your progress will be parabolic at some point. Just to give you guys like a personal example of mine, right? When I was around 16 years old, which I would kind of like place myself at this point right there. When I was 16 years old, I was trying to make money online through like CSGO gambling, if you guys were into that back in the day with like the skins market. And I just tried so many different things. I tried like spread betting on basketball, like on the NBA. I tried affiliate promotions for a while, and none of it seemed to work. Like, I made a couple thousand here and there, but it was nothing ever major. Whereas all around me, I saw my friends just working on the linear line, right? On this linear line. And they were making, let's say, 8 to 12 pounds an hour. Whereas my efforts combined probably made me like, I don't know, like 0.5 pounds an hour, right? And this is basically the period at which I was kind of stuck in, right? And it was this kind of like purgatory period right here. And this is what's known as your plateau of latent potential. I used to just call this like your growth curve because I wasn't sophisticated enough to come up with the concept myself because my model of it in my head was much less refined. But generally speaking, the plateau of latent potential is essentially any stage that is kind of like before your point of inflection, which is right here, right? Where your parabolic growth overtakes the linear growth, and that's called your point of inflection. And this is basically what happened to me in 2020, where I dropped out of university and I really had a crack at this agency stuff, and it just happened to pan out. But most people, what they don't see is like this purgatory stage of, shit times that I had to go through in order to get there. So what I'm trying to say is, obviously, I'm not quite at the point of inflection just yet, because the level of success I have right now is nothing compared to what I believe I could get if I just worked a lot harder. More realistically, and that's why I'm saying I'm still kind of stuck in the cycle of doing everything for money, right? Is that, the linear line is here and this is the point of inflection. Maybe I'm like right here, right? Because genuinely a lot of the days I still kind of like struggle with, knowing what's kind of my purpose and things like that. And it takes time. Maybe I'll get there when I'm like 25, right? Or maybe when I'm like 30. But I just know that as long as I keep trying, I will get there eventually. It might not even be using the agency space, who knows, right? The point I'm trying to make is that there will be a lot of ups and downs in the future. And this is why you shouldn't really fear too much of getting into a highly competitive business model. Because maybe you need to go through this kind of like chunk of highly competitive business model in order to actually progress to your point of inflection. And that's basically the whole point of it, right? In startups, it's kind of like finding product market fit. You're gonna slog at it for years and years, and then eventually suddenly just, boom, product market fit, and your growth curve goes parabolic. And it's the same thing in kind of like cryptocurrencies and all this other crap, right? So yes, agency space, very, very oversaturated, but you shouldn't be put off because, if you're kind of like under the age of 25 and no kids, no wife, no mortgage, what the hell do you have to be afraid of? Right, just go for it. You're very, very risk tolerant. And worst case, what's gonna happen is you're gonna progress to, let's say you don't even quite make it to the point that I'm at, right? you're still gonna be at this point in your journey, right? As opposed to being stuck here. The worst thing you can do is to not do anything at all. So yeah, I guess rant over. I hope you found this video kind of like remotely helpful in terms of the concepts that I've kind of shown and you know, the various things I've talked about, including the plateau of latent potential and as such. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you enjoyed this.